B&B spoilers. Brooke discovers Taylor and Deacon's heat and gets put in her place? The bold and the beautiful B&B. Spoilers point to Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, figuring out the ID of Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, mystery man, and takes action. Word on the street is spreading like wildfire. Taylor and Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, are smitten. The word got out after Steffi Forrester Finnegan, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, overheard something, then told Hope Logan Spencer, Annika Noel. Deke Sharp, Harrison Cohn, knows about Deacon and Taylor, too. This is becoming the worst-kept secret in L.A. Deacon and Taylor outed? Will Brooke be the latest to figure out who Taylor is pinning for? B&B spoilers indicate that during the January 16th AP, Brooke comes upon some intriguing information. Does she eavesdrop, or does Hope tell her? Be sure to tune in and find out. Brooke gains intel. Brooke wants Taylor to move on instead of pining about Ridge Forrester, Torsten K. But if she discovers that Taylor and Deacon are crushing on each other, this will leave her aghast. Brooke will feel, as Steffi does, that a Deacon romance will turn Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown berserk. Sheila has targeted both Brooke and Taylor in the past. Heck, she's targeted half of LA at this point, including Steffi. Sheila's wrath is unwelcome. Because of the potential for danger, will Brooke take matters into her own hands and confront Taylor about the madness? After all, she doesn't want Steffi getting hurt either. Then again, Brooke could confront Deacon and warn him off of pursuing Taylor. But is it too late for Deacon and Taylor to stem their budding attraction? Of course, such a situation is completely unprofessional on Taylor's part, and for his part Deacon is at least making weak noise about loving Sheila. What happens next to Deacon? The bold and the beautiful spoilers hint that Sheila's saintly act could be coming to an end. She has been good for a while now, but it looks like there is turmoil on the horizon. She knows that Deke and Hope don't like her with their dad and was unable to sway them in recent days at Il Giardino. Tell us, B&B fans, do you think that Taylor and Deacon are relationship goals or just a lusty fling? In the world of the bold and the beautiful, the landscape of Los Angeles is shifting in ways no one expected. For decades, the central rivalry has been the legendary tug-of-war between Brooke Logan and Taylor Hayes over Ridge Forrester Point 1. But as we move into January 2026, a new, sizzling shockwave is rocking the canvas. The unexpected romantic spark between Taylor Hayes and Deacon Sharp. If you thought you'd seen every possible twist, think again. The latest developments suggest that Brooke Logan is about to walk right into a situation that will leave her reeling. And for once, she might be the one getting put in her place. The unlikely Deacon connection. For months, Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, and Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, have been bonding in an environment no one saw coming. Therapy sessions point to, while Deacon originally sought Taylor's professional guidance to navigate his complicated life and his marriage to the volatile Sheila Carter, the doctor-patient boundary has officially blurred. Deacon, often treated as roadkill by the high society Forresters and Logans, has found a kindred spirit in Taylor. She, too, has often felt like a second choice in the shadow of Ridge and Brooke's destiny. This mutual understanding has blossomed into a genuine, heated attraction that fans are calling Deacon. Brooke's mystery solved. While Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, has already sounded the alarm, terrified that her mother is playing with fire by getting close to Sheila's husband, Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, has been largely in the dark. However, spoilers for mid-January 2026 indicate that Brooke's mystery-solving skills are about to kick into high gear. Whether she follows a trail of breadcrumbs left by Hope Logan or happens to stumble upon an intimate moment at Il Giardino, the truth is coming out. Brooke, who has spent years encouraging Taylor to find her own destiny, mostly to keep her away from Ridge, is about to get exactly what she asked for. But she won't like the packaging. The confrontation. Brooke gets put in her place. When Brooke finally discovers the heat between Taylor and Deacon, her first instinct will likely be judgment and concern. After all, Deacon is her ex-husband and the father of her daughter, Hope. Furthermore, the shadow of Sheila Carter, Kimberlyn Brown, loomed over everything. However, the sad news for Brooke is that her usual moral high ground is crumbling. In a dramatic turn of events, Taylor and Deacon are no longer willing to take Brooke's lectures. Taylor stands her ground. Unlike previous years where Taylor might have felt guilt, she is now leaning into a relationship with a man who actually puts her first point for when Brooke tries to warn her or shame her for pursuing a married man. Especially one married to Sheila, Taylor is poised to remind Brooke of her own checkered, romantic history. Deacon's defiance. Deacon is tired of being the Logan family's project or problem. If Brooke tries to put him in his place, Deacon is ready to push back. He has found a knockout in Taylor who appreciates him for who he is, not as a mistake from the past. The Sheila factor, playing with fire. The real tragedy and the sad part of this news is the looming threat of Sheila Carter. While Hope and Deke Sharp are actually thrilled at the prospect of their father leaving Sheila for someone like Taylor, the danger is real. Point 5. Sheila has already warned Taylor that she will turn vicious if her marriage is ruined. Point 6. By discovering Taylor and Deacon's connection. Brooke might think she's saving Taylor from a mistake, but in reality, she's stepping into a powder keg. If Brooke lets the secret slip to the wrong person, or if Sheila catches wind of Brooke's interference, the fallout could be disastrous. Character stance on Deacon reasoning. Steffi opposed fears Sheila will kill Taylor. Hope supportive wants her father away from Sheila at any cost. Brooke shocked / judgmental worried about the messiness of her ex with her rival. Sheila dangerous prepared to destroy any hurdle in her path. Why this is today's very sad news. The sadness in this storyline lies in the broken alliances. For a brief window, Brooke and Taylor had found a friendship, a pact to move past Ridge. That pact is now a distant memory. As Brooke tries to exert control over this new situation, she risks alienating her daughter, Hope, who is actively matchmaking for Deacon and Taylor. Brooke's attempt to save everyone might actually be the catalyst that causes Sheila to unleash her wrath. For Taylor, finding happiness with Deacon might finally give her the love she deserves, but it comes at the cost of her safety and her standing with the Logans. What's next for B&B? As we head into the week of January 19th, 2026, the tension is at an all-time high. Will Brooke keep the secret to protect Taylor from Sheila, or will her need to be right cause her to expose the affair? One thing is certain. Taylor is no longer interested in being Brooke's second best, and Deacon is done playing by the Logan rules. Sheila to unleash her wrath. For Taylor, finding happiness with Deacon might finally give her the love she deserves, but it comes at the cost of her safety and her standing with the Logans. What's next for B&B? As we head into the week of January 19th, today's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful delivered a gut punch that longtime fans could feel in their bones. What began as a simmering undercurrent of suspicion exploded into a raw, emotional reckoning when Brooke Logan finally stumbled upon the undeniable truth. Taylor Hayes and Deacon Sharp are no longer just circling each other. The chemistry Brooke feared, denied, and dismissed has crossed a dangerous line, and the fallout is nothing short of devastating. For Brooke, this discovery isn't just about betrayal. It's about history repeating itself in the cruelest possible way. It's about realizing that while she was busy trying to protect her family, the people she trusted most were forging a connection that threatens to upend everything she thought she knew. And perhaps most shocking of all, when Brooke finally confronts the situation, she isn't met with apologies or explanations. She's shut down, corrected, and firmly put in her place. A discovery that cuts too deep. Brooke's instincts have always been razor sharp, even when she tries to ignore them. For weeks now, something about Taylor and Deacon hasn't sat right with her. The lingering glances, the too quiet conversations, the way Deacon seemed oddly protective of Taylor, and the way Taylor defended Deacon when others questioned his motives. Still, Brooke wanted to believe the best. After everything they've all been through, the betrayals, the scandals, the endless triangles, surely Taylor wouldn't cross that line again. Surely Deacon, of all people, wouldn't risk igniting another firestorm. But today, Brooke walks in at exactly the wrong moment. What she sees isn't a harmless conversation or a friendly exchange. It's heat. It's closeness. It's the unmistakable energy of two people who have let their guard down and crossed into something deeply personal. The air between Taylor and Deacon is thick with emotion, and Brooke feels it instantly. Her heart sinks. Her worst fear is no longer a theory. It's real. Brooke's pain is written all over her face. What makes this moment so heartbreaking is Brooke's vulnerability. She doesn't storm in screaming or accusing. Instead, there's a stunned silence, the kind that comes when reality hits too hard, too fast. For a split second, Brooke looks like she might break. Fans who have followed Brooke Logan's journey for decades know this look well. It's the same look she's worn when Ridge chose Taylor over her, when secrets unraveled her marriage, when trust slipped through her fingers, one betrayal at a time. And now, here she is again, on the outside looking in. Brooke tries to process what she's seeing, but the emotions come rushing in. Confusion, hurt, anger, and beneath it all, a deep sense of déjà vu. She has been here before, and she knows exactly how this story tends to end, with her being painted as the problem. The confrontation Brooke never expected. When Brooke finally finds her voice, she does what she's always done. She confronts the situation head-on. She questions what's going on between Taylor and Deacon, clearly shaken but still trying to keep her composure. But instead of remorse or hesitation, she's met with resistance. Taylor doesn't crumble. Deacon doesn't back down. In fact, the dynamic shifts in a way Brooke never anticipated. Taylor stands her ground. She doesn't deny the connection. She doesn't apologize for it. Instead, she calmly but firmly tells Brooke that what's happening between her and Deacon is none of Brooke's business. The implication is clear. Brooke no longer has the authority to judge, interfere, or control the narrative. For Brooke, this lands like a slap. Being put in her place. The phrase fans are already buzzing about, Brooke getting put in her place, couldn't be more accurate. Taylor's response isn't cruel, but it's unyielding. She reminds Brooke of her own complicated past, her own long list of romantic entanglements, and her tendency to insert herself into situations she believes she has the moral high ground over. Taylor makes it clear she's not asking for permission, and she's not seeking approval. Deacon, surprisingly, echoes the sentiment. He doesn't lash out, but he doesn't apologize either. He makes it known that his feelings are real, that he's not the villain Brooke wants him to be, and that he won't be shamed into backing away simply because it makes Brooke uncomfortable. In that moment, Brooke realizes something chilling. She has lost control of the situation entirely. A power shift years in the making. This confrontation represents more than just a love triangle. It's a power shift that's been brewing for years. Brooke has often been the emotional center of these conflicts, the woman whose reactions shaped the outcome. But today, she's no longer driving the conversation. Taylor is. For so long, Taylor has been portrayed as the one reacting to Brooke's choices, competing with her, losing to her, or trying to rise above her. But now, Taylor isn't reacting at all. She's choosing for herself, and she refuses to be made small for it. That's what makes this moment so painful for Brooke. It's not just that Taylor and Deacon are involved. It's that they don't need Brooke's understanding to move forward. Deacon's complicated redemption arc. Deacon Sharp's involvement adds another layer of emotional complexity to this storyline. Once dismissed as a perpetual troublemaker, Deacon has spent years trying to prove he's changed. His connection with Taylor, someone known for her integrity and emotional intelligence, gives his redemption arc a sense of legitimacy. But for Brooke, Deacon will always represent chaos. He's a reminder of past mistakes, broken trust, and scars that never fully healed. Seeing him with Taylor feels like a personal affront, even if Brooke can't fully articulate why. And when Deacon chooses to defend his bond with Taylor instead of placating Brooke, it stings more than she's willing to admit. Brooke's isolation grows. As the confrontation ends, Brooke is left standing on emotional quicksand. The people she confronted walk away united, while she's left grappling with a painful truth. She's alone in this fight. There's no triumphant exit, no dramatic victory, just Brooke trying to steady herself as everything shifts around her. The sadness of today's episode lies in this quiet aftermath. Brooke doesn't collapse, but she doesn't emerge stronger either. She walks away visibly shaken, carrying the weight of another emotional loss. What this means going forward. This revelation is bound to send shockwaves through the B&B universe. Ridge's reaction alone could ignite another firestorm, especially given his long, complicated history with both Brooke and Taylor. Loyalties will be tested, old wounds will reopen, and the question looming over everything is simple but devastating. Can Brooke accept a world where she no longer controls the narrative? For Taylor and Deacon, the road ahead won't be easy. Their connection may be genuine, but the fallout is inevitable. Judgment, backlash, and emotional collateral damage are all but guaranteed. And for Brooke, today marks a painful turning point, a moment where she realizes that even after all these years, love and betrayal can still find new ways to hurt. A very sad day for Brooke Logan. Today's bold and the beautiful episode doesn't end with explosions or screaming matches. Instead, it leaves viewers with something far heavier, emotional truth. Brooke discovers the heat she feared, confronted head-on, and is forced to accept that she no longer holds the power she once did. In a devastating turn of events that has left fans reeling, The Bold and the Beautiful delivers one of its most emotionally brutal storylines yet. What began as quiet conversations, stolen glances, and moments of fragile comfort has now exploded into the open. Deacon Sharp and Dr. Taylor Hayes have been outed, their deeply personal connection dragged into the harsh light of public scrutiny, and the fallout is nothing short of heartbreaking. This is not a love story revealed with joy. This is a tragedy born of timing, history, and wounds that never truly healed. A bond born from brokenness. Deacon and Taylor's relationship was never supposed to exist. Not like this. Both characters carried decades of pain, regret, and complicated legacies. Deacon Sharp, forever branded by his past mistakes, has spent years trying, and often failing, to prove he's more than the sum of his worst decisions. Taylor Hayes, the respected psychiatrist and devoted mother, has long struggled with her own emotional scars, many of them tied directly to Ridge Forrester and the endless triangle that defined her life. When these two crossed emotional paths again, it wasn't passion that led the way. It was loneliness. They found solace in one another during moments when the world felt unbearably heavy. Conversations that were meant to be harmless grew deeper. Confessions followed. Vulnerability replaced caution. And somewhere along the line, feelings formed, complicated, undeniable, and dangerous. They both knew it. They both feared it. And yet neither walked away. The secret that was never safe. From the very beginning, Deacon and Taylor understood the risks. Their connection threatened to upend fragile family dynamics, reopen old wounds, and ignite explosive reactions from those closest to them. Brooke Logan, Ridge Forrester, Steffi, Hope, Sheila Carter. Each name carried consequences, so they kept quiet. They convinced themselves that what they shared was private, controlled, and temporary. They believed they could protect everyone by keeping the truth hidden. But secrets on the bold and the beautiful have a way of rotting from the inside out. Whispers started. Looks lingered too long. Timing became suspicious. And then came the moment no one could stop. The outing that changed everything. The reveal didn't happen gently. It never does. Whether overheard, confronted, or cruelly exposed by circumstance, Deacon and Taylor were outed in a way that left no room for denial. The truth spilled out, raw, unfiltered, and devastating. Shock rippled through the room. Silence followed. Then came the fury. For Brooke Logan, the betrayal cut deep. Taylor, her lifelong rival, entangled with Deacon, a man whose history is inseparably tied to Brooke's own pain? It felt like an unforgivable violation, reopening decades of rivalry, jealousy, and unresolved trauma. Ridge, caught in the emotional crossfire, was left stunned, not just by the pairing, but by what it symbolized. Taylor moving on. Taylor choosing someone else. Taylor no longer waiting. And for Steffi, the reaction was perhaps the most heartbreaking of all. Her mother, the moral compass she's always defended, suddenly stood accused of hypocrisy. Loving Deacon Sharp, a man long viewed as reckless and unworthy, shattered the image Steffi had fiercely protected. Deacon's shame and Taylor's collapse. If anyone believed Deacon would fight back defiantly, they were wrong. This time, Deacon looked broken. Years of judgment, rejection, and self-loathing crashed down all at once. Being outed didn't just expose his relationship, it confirmed his deepest fear, that no matter how much he tried to change, the world would never let him forget who he used to be. For Taylor, the consequences were even more devastating. As a psychiatrist, her credibility, ethics, and emotional stability were immediately questioned. Was she vulnerable? Was she spiraling? Was this relationship proof she had lost her way? Taylor didn't just face public judgment. She faced internal collapse. The shame, the guilt, the realization that the one place she thought was safe had become a battlefield. Brooke and Taylor, a war reignited. For years, Brooke and Taylor have tried, sometimes successfully, sometimes not, to bury the hatchet. They shared moments of mutual respect, especially for the sake of their children. But this revelation obliterated that fragile peace. Brooke didn't see nuance. She didn't see loneliness. She didn't see healing. She saw betrayal. Words were exchanged that can never be taken back. Accusations flew. Old wounds were weaponized. Decades of resentment came rushing back with terrifying force. In that moment, it became painfully clear. Some rivalries never truly end. They only lie dormant. The children pay the price. As always on The Bold and the Beautiful, it's the next generation that suffers the most. Hope Logan found herself torn between loyalty to her father and the uncomfortable reality of his choices. She wanted to defend Deacon, to believe in his growth, but seeing the pain ripple outward made that nearly impossible. Steffi, meanwhile, felt blindsided, her trust shaken, her belief in her mother's judgment cracked. The woman who taught her strength and boundaries now seemed lost in emotional chaos. And Ridge? Ridge stood once again at the center of emotional wreckage, forced to confront the reality that Taylor's heart was no longer his to protect or control. A relationship doomed by exposure? Now that the truth is out, the biggest question looms. Can Deacon and Taylor survive this? History says no. They are facing opposition from every direction. Family pressure, social judgment, internal doubt, the weight of past mistakes, the fear that staying together only causes more harm. And yet, there is something tragically real between them. Not a fantasy, not a scheme, but two broken people who found comfort where they least expected it. That's what makes this so painfully sad. The tragedy of what if. Perhaps the most heartbreaking part of the storyline is the haunting sense of what could have been. If the timing were different. If the history weren't so heavy. If the world were less cruel. But The Bold and the Beautiful has never been about easy happiness. It's about love colliding with reality and losing. As Deacon and Taylor stand exposed, judged, and emotionally stripped bare, viewers are left watching two souls grapple with the cost of vulnerability in a world that punishes it. Final thoughts. A sad chapter, not yet over. Today's very sad news marks a turning point, not just for Deacon and Taylor, but for everyone orbiting their lives. Trust has been shattered. Alliances are shifting. Old fires have been reignited. Whether this story ends in separation, sacrifice, or a fragile fight for love remains to be seen. But one thing is certain.